without coffee, there would be darkness and chaos. How many of us here wake up in the morning and you realize that you can't function or do anything until you've had your fix? I'm not talking about your fix of exercise. I'm talking about your fix of coffee. Because whether you're cradling a travel mug, between watching the news in the morning and the kids done, or dashing out after a spin class to refuel with a skinny latte, for many, it's hard to imagine a day without it. I mean, the caffeine in coffee perks up, and there's something incredibly soothing about sipping a steaming cup of coffee. But is drinking coffee good for you? Now, I look forward to exploring this topic a little bit further with our guest today. And when we look at it today, I want to find out that and answer this riddle and question is that why the right amount of coffee is good for you. And I look forward to chatting to the one, the only, Charlotte Meshida. She's one of the world's best clinical nutritionists. She's one of the My Health 360 experts and really community drivers and teachers and instructors in our micro learnings. And she's here to give us some insight on this topic of coffee. Now, before I bring Charlotte in, let me just share a quick stat with you, right? Is that in 2019 to 2020, in South Africa, 675,000 60-kilogram bags were consumed during that 12-month period of coffee. Now, how much do you weigh? I weigh about 85, right? So it is 2/3 of me. So 2/3 of me times by 60 is how much coffee was consumed. Times 1,000. Now that's into the millions of kilograms of coffee that was consumed. My goodness. Firstly, that's a feeling many people feel. I've had the coffee, and this is my shock and awe in how much coffee is being consumed, because you smell that cup of coffee. It feels as though a lot of problems just melt away. But in reality, how good is it for you? Charlotte, your camera, and welcome to today's session of #For the Health with me, Ronald Apogee. Right, everybody, there, Charlotte. Yay, Charlotte, did you have a cup of coffee for the day?
Okay, so I have to admit that I did, but let me tell you, it's a very, very controversial subject is coffee, and one of the most controversial sort of beverages that we have after alcohol, I think. So, yes, you mentioned how much coffee is consumed in a year. Well, let me tell you, coffee is very high. So I'll talk about the good things of coffee first. Coffee is very high in antioxidants. So that's a good thing because it helps with oxidative stress. It helps promote health as opposed to disease. And in the westernized diet, in a typical westernized diet, apparently coffee provides more antioxidants than the average person eats in terms of fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
Now, all that tells me is not how good coffee is, but how bad their diet is. Because my word, that doesn't say much about how much else they are eating. So, yes, there are good things to coffee. And the good thing is, and this is my point as well, is that you mentioned you smell the coffee. It's the aroma, it's the occasion, it's something you use to start the day. There's so much that goes with that. There's either companionship because you're sitting with your spouse or your children in the morning. Hopefully they're not drinking too much coffee. But there's a lot of other things involved with the coffee. There's a lot of nurturing. And also what's important is what do you put in the coffee? Okay, so we tend to condemn coffee, which is just the medium, for more sugar or cream or other rubbish that we want to stick in there, and poor old coffee is blamed. So that the good part of coffee is definitely association with a lower incidence of diabetes in people who are not diabetic, who drink coffee, into developing type 2 diabetes. Now, that research is quite controversial, as you can imagine, but it kind of pops up over the years because, as you know, I specialize in diabetes, and I get these newsletters all the time. And every now and again, it pops up saying, drink coffee because it reduces your incidence of diabetes. But here's the catch, okay? If you already have diabetes, caffeine can raise your blood sugar slightly, okay? And it keeps it high. So prevents the body from actually, or the insulin from actually bringing it down. Now, again, that is person specific. You get some people where it doesn't actually have that bad effect, but it also depends on what you've got in the coffee together with the coffee. So we, as I say, we're blaming coffee, but maybe it's the artificial sweetener or the sugar or the whole lot of cream or whatever else is in that coffee. So conversely, they found that people who had risks of heart failure, they also had a decreased risk of heart failure. So that risk was slightly related to caffeine, but this is where it comes in. It's because caffeine stimulates the beating of the heart. So it stimulates your heart rate. Well, so you can understand if you So I think I've given you some pros and cons there.
Yeah, you definitely have. And at the end of the day, it boils down to this, that many people, it builds into that when they need energy to want coffee. When they feel tired, they want coffee. You know, what is the role of that caffeine? Why has coffee got this magical power that many people feel it peps them up when they're feeling a bit of a slump? Because it's either going to be coffee or an energy drink for many people, or to reach in the cupboard for something sweet, like a chocolate or a sweet.
Okay, so it's interesting. So you're reaching for coffee or an energy drink, both of which are high in caffeine. Okay, so what caffeine on its own does is that it reduces the level of adenosine, which is quite an important transmitter in the body. And adenosine rises as the day gets longer. Adenosine is what prepares your body for the circadian rhythm to prepare for sleep. Okay, so coffee or caffeine prevents that from being released. Right. So in a situation where you are already tired and you're now drinking coffee just to make you stay awake, so in other words, you're suppressing release of adenosine, you are then creating a stressful condition for your body, and your cortisol levels, your norepinephrine and adrenaline will go up. Okay. That in itself will then cause a raise of blood sugar, because that's what cortisol does. And it puts the body under more stress. So the timing of that caffeine is really important. You want it earlier on in the day if you're going to use it at all, and you want to prevent it keeping you awake when your body's telling you you are tired, because all you're doing there is aggravating the stress components and creating much more of a heightened stress reaction to the stress hormones.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. I get you. I get you so far. But Charlotte, you often get decaffeinated coffee. What's the purpose of that then?
So I usually drink decaffeinated coffee. And the interesting thing is, back in the old days, long before you were born, I think decaffeinated coffee came into play. And then we had a bit of a seminar on it. And we were told we were drinking so much more toxins in the decaffeinated coffee because it depended on what method they used to decaffeinate the coffee. Okay, now they have a water-based process and it's more naturally based, and that has a slightly better effect. So if you just, regardless of the method that they use, if you just take caffeine out of the coffee, do you still get the same enjoyment? Well, I definitely do. Okay, and I'm quite sensitive to caffeine, so I've got to be very careful of the amount of caffeine I have on a daily basis. But let me tell you, when I go to my yearly journey to the Health Hydro, there is no caffeine, there is no dairy, and in that 3-day period, I probably eat double what I eat here, and I always lose weight. So that for me is fascinating. Yeah. It's fascinating because it takes you back to the whole toxic element of how people gain weight, why they gain weight all of a sudden with no apparent reason. And it's maybe a topic for another day, but definitely taking caffeine out of your diet in some people will make you lose weight. As I say, a topic for another day.
Oh my goodness, Charlotte, you are setting the fox amongst the pigeons now. Many people assume that when you drink your coffee, you're going to lose weight. Oh, hang on. I got a WhatsApp question that has come through. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for the topic. Quick question. Why is it that whenever I drink coffee, I end up going to the loo to do a number 2?
Okay. So coffee is a stimulant. Okay. It is also a diuretic. So first of all, you're going to go to the loo to urinate more because it's releasing, it's stimulating the kidneys to make more water, to make more urine, and you're going to get a full bladder and you will want to release that. The interesting thing is that coffee itself is often used as an enema, just in itself. So even without going down this side, can go up the other side and then creates an enema. So coffee, the caffeine in coffee can be used to stimulate smooth muscle. So it would be necessarily quite a high dose, probably coupled with some other things, but some people are reliant on that caffeine stimulation or that chemical stimulation of the smooth muscle to move the bowel. Simple.
Yeah, okay. For that, a viewer, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, enema, I've tried many things in my life from a medical perspective, Charlotte. I always say, when it comes to looking after self, you got to figure out so many things and, try it. But an enema is something that, I haven't gone there yet, Charlotte, and neither have I gone this straight, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Squeeze. Haven't gone there yet. But you're right. I have heard of those coffee enemas. It was a very big thing in America with the celebrities, and from there just grew globally. And we know that in a lot of the industries, especially in the beauty industry, it's like, what's next? What's the new thing? What are the celebs doing for X, Y, Z? So yeah, I have heard about that before. Thank you for that question, Charlotte. When you look at coffee, I know everyone's got their own, biochemical processes, how they consume it, how they process it within their bodies. But is there a framework with coffee? For example, a time of the day, you mix it with cream, with sugar, with no sugar, with sweetener, with milk, no milk, cut it out at a particular time. It goes well hand in hand with a healthy eating strategy. What are the benefits to adding coffee into your diet or into your nutrition strategy? And if you really do just crave that taste at least once or twice a day, what is the framework to consume coffee?
Well, certainly if you want coffee in your life and you want to have it as part of your life, then there is you can actually make it work for you. So first of all, I think a lot of that addiction to caffeine does exist. There's no question that when people crave that caffeine, there's an addiction involved, okay? If you want to sort of minimize the effects of that, have it earlier on in the day when it can increase your cortisol, which is when you need your cortisol production. So it doesn't interfere with your circadian rhythm. So that's one thing about it. Bear in mind that actual caffeine does the side effects of having too much caffeine is that you can release calcium from the bones. So it contributes to things like osteoporosis, okay? And also then the formation of calcium stones in the kidneys. So you want to make sure that if you are getting your calcium from the milk that's in the coffee, that you're having another form of calcium at another stage, because that calcium that's in the milk in the coffee will probably not be absorbed very well. So that's something to remember. So many people say, yeah, I drink 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day and I have quite a lot of milk in my coffee. That's my dairy, that's my calcium for the day. Well, sorry for you, that's not going to count. Okay. You still have to have your calcium rich foods at another stage. Okay. There are a lot of people that where coffee and caffeine just simply does not work for them. And it makes them jittery, it makes them sensitive, it can make them feel bad. And especially if they have some kind of autoimmune disease with some kind of neurodegenerative condition. All of those tend to either react very well to caffeine, or they do the opposite, they react very badly. So there has been some talk about, or some insight into caffeine and prevention of Parkinson's. And that's a simple one, because Parkinson's is the death of cells producing dopamine, okay? But so caffeine, if you like it and you enjoy it, and it's kind of, there's all of those good things about the feeling of drinking coffee, as well as the caffeine, you can encourage dopamine to be released. So they have found that it is a positive correlation with that. When it comes to Alzheimer's, we've got both sides of the story. There's been studies where they said it helps to prevent Alzheimer's, and other studies said, well, if you've got Alzheimer's, it helps to aggravate it. So there's obviously a lot more parts to the story, and we need to be careful what we read and what we take out of it, because just to see a line that says caffeine may introduce or may prevent Alzheimer's or may prevent Parkinson's, and then people just go on the bandwagon and say more is more and let's just go and drink more coffee. But there are other things that you need to consider. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry, it was a long answer for a very short question.
Yeah, I would have been on my second cup of coffee already, Charlotte. Last question that has come in on my WhatsApp, and people remember, this is your session. This is where we bring you the experts in my Health 360, one of our old brands, but My Health 360, we bring you all the experts, and today is all about nutrition. So if you have a question regarding nutrition or coffee, or into how it impacts your life, your health, and of course, how you want to utilize nutrition to achieve a goal in your life, whether it be a health goal, a wellness goal, or just a general goal for energy, or whatever else it may be. This is the time for you to do that, because Charlotte is with us, and you could ask your questions down below or pop us a WhatsApp or a message directly. So Charlotte, last question that has come in here. There are so many different types of coffee when I go out. I have the following options available, Charlotte. There's latte, Americano, iced, espresso, mocha, cappuccino. Which option is the healthiest option?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked this, because so many times I ask patients, do you drink coffee? And they say, yeah. And then we go through their diet and we say, they're not eating much, but they're still gaining weight. And the one lady says, oh, well, I do have 5 cappuccinos a day. Well, can't blame the coffee, honey, okay? Because a cappuccino is a whole glass of milk. So if you're having a large mug of coffee, 250 mils of milk, if it's full cream milk, you're getting 10 grams of fat, you're getting 8 grams of protein, and you're getting 10 grams of fat, 12 grams of carbohydrate, which is basically sugar. In addition, they probably add sugar to that, or a sweetener. Now, you did ask about the whole sweetener story.
Yeah.
So let's just unwind a little bit and say, just say you have black coffee with sweetener, right? No calories, nothing in it apart from the sweetener and the coffee. Then an hour or two later, you have that same black coffee with your sweetener, but you have either a slice of toast with some jam on it, and guess what happens? Your blood sugar will go up because of the toast and the jam, and the insulin will go up as well. Then 2 hours later, you have just the coffee with the artificial sweetener. No jam, no toast, nothing. And guess what happens? Your insulin will also go up, because there's a memory of that coffee, that taste, that feeling, and it's associated with high insulin. So automatically the insulin goes up in preparation for the load of glucose that is not there. So that is where, if you are highly insulin resistant, that can really prevent weight loss. Okay, because it will prevent weight or fat burning.
Whoa, whoa.
Okay, so getting back to what's the healthiest cup of coffee? Black coffee. If you want to then go for Americano, then you're adding a bit of milk. Yeah. If you want to go dairy-free, then you're going to add your oat or your almond or whatever. Be careful of those other non-dairy milks, because it depends how they are made. It's all very well. If they're made from almonds and water, fabulous. But often they are made from other vegetable fats, which have deleterious effects. They've got other sugars in them. So you're kidding yourself and thinking it's a healthier option to milk. Okay. Obviously, a cappuccino, we've discussed already. If it's cream, that's a lot more fat. And all the mochachinos and the freezer-chinos are just maybe low in fat, but full of sugar. So, did that answer your question?
Oh, Charlotte, I do not see myself trying black coffee. And you're going to say to me, "Oh, you can. It's a quiet taste. You must get used to it."
Yeah.
Let's tell you, you know that I enjoy. I have a preference, and a condensed milk coffee for me. Yeah, boy, that's what we do. Now and then, Charlotte, don't give me those judgy eyes, okay? Now and then. But everybody, this is Charlotte giving you amazing insight information. Charlotte, as always, we are humble and grateful that you allocate this to us every week to bring the My Health 360 crew, the My Health 360 community together and to give them this expert information. And everybody, if you feel that without coffee, there would be darkness and chaos, Charlotte has just given us hope that there's light. It doesn't have to be dark. The only thing that's got to be dark is your coffee's got to be black, man. So I have black coffee according to Charlotte. But if you want more information on all nutrition, health, well-being, and fitness information, Charlotte is available with what she's put together as one of our lead instructors in our nutrition quests and courses on myhealth360.co.za. Here's the QR code. Take your phone out, scan it. It'll take you straight to where you need to go to register, do a free assessment, and then purchase Charlotte's Weight Loss Mastery Quest, which is a micro-learning journey that she walks with you to give you and empower you with the skills and the tools, but most importantly, the correct information so that you can make informed health choices. So check out myhealth360.co.za. Charlotte, as always, I feel informed, I feel enlightened. I will commit, and I'll give you feedback next week. I will commit to trying a cup of black coffee, Charlotte. Let me try. Okay. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep inspiring so many people with regards to, the role of nutrition in looking after their well-being.
Thanks, everyone.